welcome to Aloof Sailing Adventures. Take a moment and subscribe and give us a like, hopefully. I just want to give a brief history of how Aloof Sailing Adventures began. In 2017, we purchased a Sweden Yachts 38. It's an amazing boat. Something that's unusual about the boat, or exciting about the boat, or is that it has Lloyd's certifications, which was, for this size of boat, is kind of like unheard of. Also, it was a one-owner boat. He had it for 32 years prior to our purchase. The boat was well maintained. The interior was impeccable. The electronics were a bit outdated. The decks were its weakest point. It had teak decks, and over the 32 years, the sun and rain and weather, just the decks were deteriorated. Also, maintenance, sanding and stuff, the decks had just become too thin. And we realized this when we purchased it, that she would need to replace the teak decks sooner or later. We enjoyed the boat for several years, and during the COVID crisis, we decided that it was a good opportunity to take up the teak decks. And doing so, it had stainless steel screw holes, which left maybe a couple thousand screw holes in the decks, and all that had to be addressed. Obviously, there's a little bit of water intrusion and so on. So we took up the project in April of 2020, removal of the teak decks. This picture, you can see where we had oversized the holes where the hardware had been attached, and we filled them with an epoxy resin, a thickened epoxy resin. On the starboard side here, you can see where we had began to fill or to layer in 17-ounce biaxial cloth with epoxy to protect the deck and stuff from water intrusion while we took on these repairs. And if we look at this section here, we can see where we had the teak deck before, and you can see all the little screws all over the place. We go up there, and we did have some bad areas, but we're replacing all of that. You can see what we had here. Here we're going to change this around. We've got an electric windlass we're going to put in there. These are a lot of things we've started doing, but have not quite finished those projects yet. We're showing here the amount of fill that it took for us to replace the teak decks.